Across the world and here in Western New York, Jewish families woke up to news they've been praying to hear for nearly 2 years.
This has been an incredible day for Jewish people around the world. This was a moment that we've hoped for and prayed for and advocated for 2 years.
For Miriam Abramovich, with the Buffalo Jewish Federation and many others in Buffalo's Jewish community, the videos of hostages returning to their families brought tears and relief.
Many of us were up really early this morning, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
But even in celebration, Miriam says the road ahead remains fragile.
Moments like this are very complex. For any true and lasting peace to take hold, Hamas, which is a terrorist organization, not a legitimate government, needs to be disarmed. And I don't think anyone can live safely when terror groups control civilian populations. So today is a day of hope. And we're really praying, again, that it's the beginning of a real sustained and lasting peace.
As the sun sets tonight, Jewish families will mark a holiday of renewal, the same one that began when the conflict first erupted 2 years ago.
It is a joyful holiday, a holiday of celebration, of hope, of renewal, of beginning again. So this is a really unbelievable moment to celebrate this milestone.
At Niagara University history professor Dr. Mustafa Gogchik says today's announcement offers hope, but also a reminder
that peace is easier said than done. While we enjoy and celebrate peace, we have to keep in mind that it is very fragile.
He believes what happened there echoes far beyond its borders.
Tolstoy is attributed with this quote that says, if you feel pain, you are alive. If you feel the pain of others, you are a human being. I would like to take it further, that in this case, we should learn that if you feel the pain of your enemy, you are a much better human being.
Watching with concern from the offices of Niagara Action for Animals in St. Catharines has been Catherine Enns, whose group over the years has protested outside of Marineland.
Everybody's sort of got a corner on it, but nobody seems to want to take the initiative to do anything about it.
In 2019, Canada passed a law prohibiting the possession of marine mammals for performance. Its business model hampered, Marineland eventually went bankrupt. Its recent attempt to sell its 30 remaining beluga whales to a park in China was denied by the Canadian government, which said to allow animals to continue to be captive and perform there would be inconsistent with what it prohibited here. Running out of money to feed and care for them, Marineland then asked for emergency funding from Ottawa, suggesting they might have to otherwise euthanize their animals.
This is the quandary here, where they could say they love and take care of their animals like family and so on and so forth, as they have over the years, and then sort of try to blackmail the government by saying we're going to euthanize them if you don't let us do what we want to do with them.
She is hoping Ontario's government will take action through its Provincial Animal Welfare Act.
To sort of seize, I don't know how they'd seize belugas, and make Marineland pay.
But Ontario's Premier Rob Ford has thus far only asked Ottawa to reconsider its denial for funding. While some suggest releasing the animals to the wild, she notes most experts say that's no option for animals raised in captivity.
I don't think one could just take them, put them in the water and hope for the best. I mean, maybe with what in view of the alternatives that might be an option to some people. But for example, with Keiko.
Keiko, who also once lived at Marineland, was a male orca who portrayed Willie in the 1993 film Free Willy, which eventually led to an effort to release him to the wild.
They spent years rehabilitating him before they even put him into that sea pen.
Which he eventually did leave, only to die of pneumonia a year later.
How they would go about taking 30 belugas and putting them into the wild now, it's not an overnight process.
She just hopes something happens before it's too late.
People can do all sorts of things when the will is there.
I think this whole situation is unfortunate to the residents of Erie County.
In August, DJ Granville pleaded guilty to reckless driving and leaving the scene of an accident for smashing into 7 cars in a vehicle owned by Erie County taxpayers. And the special prosecutor has now closed his investigation of Granville's sister-in-law and 4 other Buffalo police officers, saying his decision not to bring charges, quote, is not an endorsement of their conduct or an exoneration from wrongdoing.
It's a terrible thing, and there has to be accountability.
Attorney John Elmore is a former state trooper who says he does not blame Niagara County DA Brian Seaman, knowing Seaman's investigation was hobbled by potential witnesses, the police officers, who would not cooperate.
It's very disappointing that some of those officers didn't stick up for this community and cooperate with the truth.
He says police may feel like they've won a victory, but the long-term damage to public trust in law enforcement may render it hollow.
When the public loses trust in the police department, then they become alienated and they don't cooperate with the police department. It's as simple as that. And so as a result, now we're all less safe.
Hinda Mohammed, a witness to the crash scene who was interviewed by Buffalo Police Internal Affairs, sees a double standard.
I mean, it's frustrating, honestly, not just for me, but for everyone else in the community, because had it been any other regular person that did less than what, DJ's done and all the cover-up from the officers and the sheriffs, the consequences would have been way worse.
She says the outcome sends a dangerous message that officers can break the law and protect their own.
It's not fair. This is not a blame game. We just want those held accountable for what they've done.
Without urgent reforms, Elmore says the public's trust will further erode.
Corruption or misconduct then could become normalized in the department. So I think this is a critical time for both police agencies to do an assessment, and whatever's going on has to be fixed.
News broke Tuesday morning that the former Sumitomo rubber plant in Tonawanda had a new owner, Huafeng Rubber, a company based in Taiwan. Welcoming news to Erie County Executive Mark Polengars.
I'm very pleased that we are going to see manufacturing continue on the site.
And Town of Tonawanda Supervisor Joseph Eminger, who spoke with representatives for the company Tuesday morning.
They're looking to employ 150, 200, 250 people to start. And as they expressed to me this morning, this is only the beginning. They're excited to come into our market, into our town. And I expressed our willingness to help them in any way that we can.
There was real concern that the vast 2 million square foot facility would be bought up by some crypto bros or data miners. But at least for now, that won't be the case.
We were worried about that. We expressed to Sumitomo it would not be well received by either the town of Tonawanda or Erie County if they sold it to a data mining site, because that uses a tremendous amount of electricity and water, but there's hardly any jobs associated. So it is not going to that.
However, there is an interesting development to all this, one that should certainly raise some eyebrows. It turns out Sumitomo Rubber owns a 10% stake in the company it just sold the plant to. According to an annual report published by Huafeng Rubber Thailand, which is a subsidiary of Huafeng Rubber Taiwan, Sumitomo Rubber is mentioned at least 15 times in the report. And a few direct quotes outline just how important the relationship between the two companies actually is. It focuses more on being a partner rather than a competitor. The risk factor of market competition is unlikely. In addition, the business relationship has been long-standing. Sumitomo Rubber Company, which holds 10% of the parent company and is considered a major shareholder. The parent company may be affected if Sumitomo Rubber withdraws its shares. In fact, the relationship between Huafeng Rubber and Sumitomo is so strong, maintaining it is listed as the 4th of 10 business goals for the company that year. Sumitomo Rubber USA abruptly shuttered the Tonawanda facility last November, and 1,500 mostly union jobs were lost overnight. However, officials welcome the news that, at least for now, it appears activity will be coming back to the Tonawanda plant.
It's a good announcement. It's not as many jobs as what were lost, but it's better than that site sitting vacant and deteriorating.
As temperatures drop, heating bills are set to rise. National Fuel is forecasting the average Western New Yorker will pay about $135 a month to stay warm this winter. That's $677 total, up from $585 just last year.
We base that on a traditional Western New York winter that has prolonged periods of cold and average snowfall.
National Fuel says the price hike comes from three things: the commodity costs of natural gas itself, delivery costs like maintaining and upgrading the system, and weather-driven usage, since colder days typically means higher demand.
We do realize that any increase can be a challenge, especially during the winter months. So that's why we recommend that our customers really look at the various options available to them, both from the dollars wise and then things that they can do around their home to make their homes more energy efficient.
Programs like HEAP, Neighbor for Neighbor, and energy efficiency audits could save qualifying families up to $1,500 this winter. And there are ways to cut down on cost. Lowering your thermostat by just 7 degrees when you're out could save about 10% on your bill.
Usually what we can find locally when we have a weak La Nina, we can get above average snowfall, more frequent lake effect events, and colder than average temperatures. I think it's probably good planning in that last season we got below average snowfall for Buffalo Airport. So if we do get more snow this season and colder conditions, it's good for people to plan for that in case.
While the winter is expected to bring occasional cold surges, National Fuel says natural gas prices are still lower than they were just 4 years ago, and among the most affordable ways to heat your home.
Dozens of friends and family and more than 100 state troopers came to honor the life and legacy of Trooper Mark Ondas. Retired State Trooper Mark Ondas passed away last week at age 56. He retired in 2021 after 26 years of service. State police say Ondas succumbed to illnesses stemming from his assignment at the World Trade Center following the 9/11 attack.
As a result of 9/11, Mark is the 37th victim of that tragedy. And unfortunately, we suspect that he will not be the last.
Captain Kevin Wiles says Trooper Mark Ondas cared deeply about his community.
Worked for a long time in the community he lived in, down in the SP Collins area, so was very well versed and knowledgeable about the area and the people, and it was a big loss to lose Mark.
I think coming together makes it bearable. That's the only thing that gets us through.
On your side in Eden, Chelsea Swift, Channel 2 News.
71-year-old Randall Warner was known to so many in this community as Papa Randy or even Grandpa Randy. They say his loss will be felt in this community because he's the type of neighbor anyone would want.
He always said hi to everybody, no matter if you knew him or not.
It's like 71-year-old Randall Warner never met a stranger.
So sweet, so friendly. Anybody and everybody he made friends with instantly, even if you just walk down the street.
That kind and caring spirit is something the Godinez family, his next-door neighbors, say they felt for more than a decade.
Wonderful with the kids on the block, giving them ice cream all the time, or popsicles, sparklers all the time at 4th of July, the fireworks, everything.
Now those memories, and this one, from Monica Godinez, will forever be in their hearts.
When I got out the car and I went over and talked to him for a few minutes, and I didn't realize that was going to be the last time. If it was, I definitely cherish it now, but I would have spent more time talking with him.
A spokesperson for the city of Buffalo says Warner died after a fire started in the front of his home on Reno Street over the weekend.
It's heartbreaking. Really heartbreaking.
It's a loss neighbors say will leave a big hole in their community.
Hope they realize how special he was, the whole neighborhood. I really hope they realize.
He's there for everybody and anybody. If he didn't have it and you needed it, he would try and make sure you got it. He would literally give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. He was the greatest person ever.
Investigators are looking into what caused this fire. On your side in Buffalo, Courtney Courtwright, Channel 2 News.
Like county leaders across the state, Poloncarz claims the increased spending for the most part was out of his hands.
71% of the increase of the $113 million is coming from mandated amounts.
Coming from Albany, then again.
The county executive continues to add jobs to the budget. He continues to grow the county with his $6 million project up in Amherst at the golf course, where he's going to add staff.
Poloncarz also warned of dire fiscal times ahead if the Trump administration succeeds in cutting federal spending, in part by shifting some of the costs of programs traditionally paid for by Washington down to states and perhaps consequently to counties.
He's blaming a lot of this on the federal government. I would also remind him that in 2024, when the governor passed down several costs to the counties, he did not have the same political uproar about that.
It's possible Albany could take steps to protect counties from what Poloncarz describes as a potential $90 to $100 million funding gap in the coming years.
We can reduce mandated services to the minimum legal levels, which is that has to come from New York State.
But when asked if he thought there was an appetite in Albany for that, or to at least bring spending on social programs in line with most other states?
If you ask me what their preference is actually to increase the program. But I'm at least glad to know that they're not sticking their heads in the sand after what we saw from the most recent budget that was approved in New York State, in which they did allow the governor to make some modifications mid-year, which they never have.
Poloncarz was quick to note he's proposed another drop in the county's property tax rate, which is what you pay per $1,000 of assessed value as determined by your town or village. But with property values increasing, Larigo says that's no big accomplishment and that Poloncarz really had no choice.
If Mark Poloncarz did not reduce the tax rate, he would be exceeding the tax cap based on assessments. So this is not the county lowering the taxes. This is the county collecting more, but chasing a headline, claiming you're going to feel some relief in your tax bill. And the reality is you aren't.
Honestly, it's disappointing, that bill was vetoed.
Jonathan Schultz serves as the fire coordinator for Niagara County and its director of emergency services. Firefighters will tell you that an EV fire is not only dangerous, but even more so if they're not trained precisely on what to do, and the recent national study revealed many are not.
The training right now is very limited.
And he says the day when training is available to all firefighters across the state can't come soon enough, especially in a state with EV mandates looming.
A lot of it's trial by error, unfortunately, and you're seeing a big push to get to these levels, but unfortunately, as first responders, we're not the priority for training.
Hochul doesn't appear to be against the idea of a state training program. In fact, in her veto message, she called it laudable, but insists because there's no money for it included in the state's current $250 billion budget, it will have to wait, suggesting maybe it could be negotiated into next year's spending plan. Schultz's concern, though, is that even if it is, and even if the budget is passed on time, the training program might not be developed, approved, and implemented until after schools will be forced to start buying electric buses in 2027.
There's varying techniques and technology that's out there right now that can be used for fighting these fires, some proven, some not proven yet. So it's so new, but it's moving so fast, and some of the mandates are actually moving faster than we are with training and as the technology is coming out, unfortunately.
Roswell Park is not staying silent about the matter. The Comprehensive Cancer Center now running a commercial about their disappointment with Independent Health. How did it get to this point?
It stems from these plans that arose maybe 2 or 3 years ago that lots of insurance companies, these Medicare Advantage plans, they oversold them. They were low cost or sometimes zero premium. And so now, after a few years, the costs of covering those individuals on those plans have been so high that insurance companies just can't afford to keep them.
Independent Health said in a statement that, unfortunately, despite extensive negotiations, Roswell Park chose not to participate in their individual Medicare Advantage plan starting January 1st.
Independent Health did say after extensive negotiations, was that the case?
There were no extensive negotiations around this point. We were told this is the way it was.
Can negotiations work out with Independent Health?
I would love for us to come back to the, quote, table and talk about how we can do this, because these are patients that we're talking about. These are people's lives, and we'll do anything. I'll sit down today.
There is panic and anger.
They have a right to be, but mostly, Claudine, they're scared. And why wouldn't you be? because your sort of world has been turned upside down.
Causing more stress for patients, she says, and while there are other options, it can disrupt a patient's care.
Is this a sign about insurance companies? It's too expensive. Even hospital care, it's just too expensive.
We're always trying to find ways to cut costs and be more efficient.
I did ask about Roswell receiving public funds.
We get about $100 million from the state of New York.
Insurance companies get public funding too.
The money that we get from the state really doesn't go for clinical care.
On your side, Claudine Ewing, Channel 2 News.
$10 million. That's how much money was awarded to the city of Olean through the state's Downtown Revitalization Initiative. Today, State Secretary Walter T. Mosley was there to get a first-hand look at those completed projects. The tour celebrated the completion of 9 major projects and 29 smaller ones and covered everything from new streetscape improvements, restored historic buildings, and a growing number of small businesses. City and state leaders say the goal was to make downtown more walkable and inviting, a change that one resident wants you to check out for yourself.
Come and really check us out. Come here, in December, there's a festival here. We have Santa Claus Lane. Come and see what it's like. It's around Thanksgiving.
It makes the place livable, more walkable. It builds a tax base while also at the same time it gives people hope that there are better things to come going forward and that we're not stuck in time.
It was a process that took about 8 years to complete. Olean was first awarded the money in 2017. And it also took a lot of local efforts, including Olean's local planning committee. Olean's completed renovations mark just 1 out of 151 communities that have been awarded funds through the DRI program. On your side, Alyssa Clausel, Channel 2 News.
Pembroke Town Park has become somewhat popular these days among certain folks. It has a spigot here where those who have wells which have run dry can come and get some water. Along Indian Falls Road, there are several wells without water. The one at the Seaver residence has been dry since the end of July. They've been regulars at the park, loading barrels of water onto the back of a pickup and bringing it to their home, storing it where they can. It's not the first time they've been without water.
Yes, this is our 4th year, as a matter of fact, in a row.
They've designed kind of an elaborate system where the barrels are hooked to a hose, which leads to the basement, where more barrels are hooked to a pumping and filtration system, enabling them to keep their taps flowing, mindful at all times to conserve any drops.
Because it's just so much work to get water that you don't want to let anything go down the drain. We're very fortunate on that. A lot of people, and a woman I just talked to down the road, said that they're just getting buckets and taking buckets into the house and heating them on the stove, and then taking a shower with a camp shower.
Pioneer living.
Yeah, for sure. That is for sure.
Others have crafted different means of staying hydrated. We'll visit with them next hour. On your side in Pembroke, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.
Vandalism at the terrace at Delaware Park has the owners upset, but police are on it.
And this security camera video shows the vandals at work. Because there are no charges yet, we are not showing faces. But for the owners, this is straight up disturbing.
Very disturbing. It just makes you kind of just question what's going on in society these days, where kids have nothing better to do than maliciously just come and destroy windows and furniture and for no apparent reason.
It's been happening overnight.
The building was, riddled with eggs. Our furniture was thrown off the balcony. A number of windows were smashed.
In his 15 years, he's never seen this happen. And a couple days later, it happened again.
When we looked at the camera, we can see it's, young kids that are just, out wreaking havoc.
12 times in 6 days, some furniture tossed into Hoyt Lake. This is a historic site, an original building from the Pan American Exposition. Buffalo police are investigating, but the owners have a message for the parents of these kids who are responsible for this damage.
And the parents deserve some of the some of the brunt of the responsibility.
Nothing inside was damaged. On your side in Buffalo, Claudine Ewing, Channel 2 News.